This is a very simple jump scare tutorial which will cover how to make any type of jump scare you want, activated by walking to a certain area. In this example, the player has a task to find a lamp. It is over there. Walking to it will trigger a jump scare. Setting off one jump scare can then activate other jump scare triggers. When I walked in, nothing happened, but when I walked out, the jump scare here set off as it was activated by the first one. I only show how to make the first example, but since jump scares can be of any other type, you will have to adapt it to your needs. I will use a default first-person template, but you can use any project you want, first or third person. For the video examples, I will first get this log cabin environment asset. Next I got this undead pack for the jump scare characters. Again, you can use any you want, this is just for the showcase example. I made some minor modifications to the project so it is more of a horror style, so it makes more sense for those who already have a horror project. I made this very simple UI that lists a task. It doesn't actually have functionality, however, and is just for showcase purposes. I want my jump scare to occur at this window with the windows opening too, so I separated the window frame mesh here from the actual window glass. Finally, I set up some very simple lighting and post-processing options to make the scene look like nighttime, lit by the moon. I will make a folder for jump scares. First, make a new actor called Jumpscare Trigger Actor. Add a box collision component. This is the trigger area and the jump scare activates if the player walks into it. In the construction script, add a set box extent for it and promote the value to a variable. Putting the code here enables us to dynamically set the area in the level for different triggers, and it will update in the editor and not in begin play. Now go to the event graph. Select the box collision and add an on component begin overlap. Use the other actor to check if the overlapped actor is the player character. If true, add a sequence. Get the player controller and set view target with blend. Promote the new view target and blend time to variables so they can be changed for different triggers. I will set the default value of the blend time to 0.5, meaning it will take 0.5 seconds for it to smoothly transition from the player's camera to the jump scare's view camera, which will be set in editor. Now get the player camera manager and start camera shake. Add a new blueprint class of type camera shake base. Set the root shake pattern to the Perlin noise 1. I will remove location values and set the rotation amplitude multiplier to 1 so there is only rotation. You can modify these values to your liking, and it is for the initial camera shake that occurs when the trigger is set off. You can change the scale if you want it stronger or weaker. Then add a sequence. Add a branch that checks a new variable called disable input. If true, get the player controller and disable input of the player character. Then stop movement immediately of the player character's character movement. This prevents you from moving away during the jump scare. In then 1, add a for each loop and make a new variable called Jumpscare Targets. Make a new actor called Jumpscare Actor. Set the Jumpscare Targets variable type to it and change it from single to array so we can activate multiple jump scares if we want. Use it for the for each loop. In Jumpscare Actor, add a custom event called Activate Jumpscare. Call it in the for each loop. On completed, add a branch that checks a new variable called Destroy on complete. If true, destroy actor. This will destroy the trigger actor if the variable is set to true so it can't be activated again. In this sequences then 1, add a branch that checks another new variable called Reset Jumpscare. If true, add a for each loop using the Jumpscare Targets. Make a new event in Jumpscare Actor called Reset Jumpscare with a float input called Duration. Call it in the for each loop and promote the duration to a variable. I will give it a default value of 3. For all the variables made, click the eye icon. This will set it as instance editable, meaning we can change its value for different instances in the editor. I will now comment the code. Now go to Jumpscare Actor. Add a delay using the duration for Reset Jumpscare. Add a set view target with blend. Set the new view target to the player character to return back to the player camera view. I will set the blend time to 0.5. You can promote this if you want to change it for different jump scares. Now enable the input. Add a custom event called Jumpscare End and call it at the end of reset. Activate Jumpscare and Jumpscare Ends have no code since they will be overwritten by child blueprints as different jump scares will have different functionality. I will now make a new folder for the ghost jump scare example. I will get some sound effects from Pixabay to use. First is wood door slam. Next is a jump scare sound. I will also get a second sound for the monster. I will make a folder and import the sound effects. Next, make another camera shake blueprint with the same parameters as the first. This time, set duration in time to 0. This will set it to looping so a subtle shake can play during the whole jump scare. Create a child class of the Jumpscare Actor and open it. I already have the prerequisites for the jump scare, which is this character from the pack. It has an animation blueprint which just plays idle and has a default slot so montages can be played. I will also use this template blueprint since it has particle effects. The skeletal mesh should use the animation blueprint. For the jump scare, I will make an animation montage of this emerge animation. This will most likely be different to you as you will have different jump scares in mind. You can add more animations to a montage by dragging it in. The first way to play sounds is to add a play notify, which is an easier and accurate method as you can choose exactly when it plays. I will set it to the ghost jump scare sound. You can use montage notifies to run code in blueprints when they are reached, for example 1 to spawn a post process. I will quickly make another montage of the same animation but set the play rate to -1 so I can use it as an exit animation once the jump scare ends. I will add the lich blueprint to my ghost jump scare child blueprint. Again, the following parts are specific for this particular jump scare, so you will have to add different or further code for it to work with the jump scare you want. I will set the visibility of the character to hidden by default. Now right-click and add event activate jump scare so it overrides it from the parent class which had no functionality. I won't explain all the code here as it is specific to this example. Here I simply set the visibility back to true and play the emerge montage. You can also play a sound effect in the blueprint by using play sound 2D or play sound at location. Here I play the looping camera shake and promote it to a variable so it can be stopped at the end. Next I will add a post-process component. I will just set it to have a vignette, then add some color grading and film grain to make it look more like a horror scene. To make it fade, I will add a timeline. You can make it ease by selecting both points, right-clicking and changing the curve type. To fade it, you can set the blend weight. Here I destroy the post process if it was faded out. Then add event jump scare end. Here I play the exit montage. Then I stop the camera shake. Then reverse the post-process timeline. On blend out I will hide the character again. You can also just destroy the actor if it won't be reset and is just a single jump scare. Event jump scare end is a secondary functionality event since the default one should happen for any jump scare, which is resetting the camera. I will now make another jump scare effect for the Windows opening. I will speed this section up since, as mentioned already, the Jumpscare Actors is based on your game. I simply set up the two windows with the parent scene so the pivot can be changed to the left and right. Then I use a timeline to rotate them and play the sound effect. The arrow direction is the direction it opens towards. Now we can set up the jump scare in the level. I want the lich to appear here, so we'll add it to the world. I will then add the window jump scare and position it in the frames. Now we need to add a camera actor. To position it easier, right-click the camera and select Pilot. I will now position it so it is facing the window and the ghost. Finally, we can add the jump scare trigger actor. It might be kind of hard to see the range box, so you can increase the line thickness of it. You can easily change the size of it by modifying the range value. This lamp here is the one required for the task, so it makes sense to put the jump scare here. I want this to be single, so we'll enable destroy on complete. The camera target I will set using the eyedropper tool. The blend time I will reduce to 0.25 so it happens faster. For the jump scare targets I will add two elements, as there is the ghost and window ones. I will now test it. It is working. The sound effect timing, however, is not that good, so I will adjust it and change one of the sound effects to play on exit instead. It is better now. The camera smoothly returns to the player once the jump scare ends. The input parameters can be adjusted to your liking. Lowering the duration will make the jump scare end earlier. You can change the camera blend time to a lower value if you want it to be faster, and a value of 0 will snap it immediately. You can increase it too, but it won't be as scary if it doesn't transition as fast. The disable input will prevent us from moving the player or camera, so it returns to the same position after the jump scare. I would recommend always keeping this on unless you want some different functionality, but you may need to add on to it so it works differently. Finally, I will quickly show how to make a jump scare activate other ones that are disabled by default. I have this second jump scare I made off camera to showcase it. It is a very quick modification in the Jumpscare Trigger Actor. On begin play, add a branch that checks a new variable called start activated. Make sure you set it to instance editable. If the branch is false, set the box's collision enabled to no collision so it won't be able to detect if anything walked into it. Then add a custom event called activate trigger that sets the collision to query only. Next, make a new variable called activate triggers of type jumpscare trigger, which is this blueprint. Make it an array variable. Add a pin to the sequence. Add a for each loop using activate triggers and call the activate trigger event. Make sure start activated's default value is true. For this second jump scare I will set start activated to false. Now it is not activating when I walk to it. Now I will select the first jump scare, which should activate the other one. Make sure you set activate triggers to instance editable. I will add one element to it and set it as the second jump scare. Since it is an array, you can activate multiple other triggers if you want. Now the second jump scare should activate when I walk out. That is all for this video. The jump scares shown here are just examples, but you can make any other type of jump scare you want with the following setup using the jump scare trigger, Jumpscare Actor and a camera actor. You can purchase this final result from Patreon if you want, however it will not include the same examples as they were made with paid assets. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching.